Hello, welcome back to another episode of Straight Facts. I'm joined, of course, it's Wednesday afternoon by Jessica Black. We've got lots to talk to you about. A Manchester United bid reported for Milinkovic-Savić. We're going to be rounding up Arsenal's transfer activity, of course, with Jess as a big gooner. Gabriel Jesus, is it close? We're looking at Youri Tielemans. We're looking at Victor Osimhen as well. We're also going to discuss the Klopp outrage from last night. He was named as the Manager of the Year and the LMA Manager of the Year. And there's a lot of people that are not happy about it. Plus, Mo Salah will stay. Mo Salah will stay at Liverpool next season. He has confirmed it. So lots to delve into. But before all of that, Jess, how are you? How are you feeling now, a few days after the end of the season?
I am feeling good. Season ends and you start thinking about the next one, and transfer season is always fun. So yeah, I'm feeling good. I can't complain.
Good. And as you say, you can get over things quite quickly. You move on to the next year. And there's so much to look forward to this summer. It's going to be, you can already tell, I think, the volume of news in the first 3 or 4 days is so different to last year. This time last year, it was okay, well, is anyone going to start? Is anyone going to do anything? What's going on? So yeah, it seems like it's going to be a lot busier. No proper international tournaments in the way or anything like that. David here says the terrace time afternoon, Jess, Terry, and everybody. Hello, David. Hope you are well. Hope you're good, my friend. Calvin Phillips being linked to City. We'll have a little chat about that later. If there's any others that you want our opinions on or want to talk to us about, feel free to leave your comments. We'll always prioritize our member chats and our super chats as well. But I wanted to start off with Arsenal. You're linked to so many players at the moment, and I've seen the Gooners doing the, listing all the players and how would you rank this transfer window. One that isn't going away, one that continues to be discussed, is Gabriel Jesus. Now, Gabriel Jesus, we know how talented a player he is. We know how well he's done at Manchester City. The uptake in form after he was linked to Arsenal was palpable, really. What's your take on this? That there are some reports, and I saw you retweet this actually, that this could be done as early as next week. How confident are you in the Arsenal fan base?
I think the fan base is pretty confident. Once, Ornstein starts talking about it, he's basically, in my opinion, Ornstein gets information from the club that they feel comfortable, with being out there. And Ornstein came out with an article in The Athletic yesterday, talking a lot about Gabriel Jesus and Youri Tielemans as, targets that are high up on our list. And, we want to get those transfers done, blah, 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 blah. So for me, when the season kind of ended and the links didn't go away, even after, we failed to qualify for Champions League, I thought it still makes a lot of sense. We're in the position that we're kind of in right now for the amount that we're going to have to pay for a striker. I think this is the best value for money, with kind of where we are. And so I'm pretty confident. And I spoke about this probably like a year or so ago, and said I would love for Gabriel Jesus to come to Arsenal. And a lot of people were like, why would you want him? Da, da, da. But he's a really good player. You can maybe question, is he the best number 9 out there? But in terms of the technical quality of this player, he walks into the Arsenal team and is probably the best player there, besides Saka and Thomas Partey. And that just speaks to the levels that Arsenal are at and the level that he is. So I'm pretty confident. I think that this is something that can get done. There's still some Arsenal fans that are in some sort of alternate universe where they think we're going to go out there and just, get 3 or 4 top strikers or whatever. It's not going to happen. We have to operate within our means, and Gabby Jesus is definitely somebody that is in our means.
Without a shadow of a doubt, he is. And, he's a highly talented football player. He's achieved more than anybody in your current squad is in terms of winning medals. I don't think there's a player. I'm just trying to think if you've got somebody that's won elsewhere that's now at your club. I can't think of anybody. He's a winner. He knows your manager as well. And I think it's almost one of those. The one thing you'd say about Arteta is he's had some issues with senior players at the club. Some that he's purchased, some that were already there. Gabriel Jesus is a senior player that he knows. It's someone that understands him, and vice versa. I think it's a very good deal. So we had we had Ben Jacobs on yesterday that spoke about the deal. Could go as high as £55 million, and Arsenal have got to be potentially prepared to pay that. And that's the one thing that's true here. Like, this is where we're really going to see, for me, how much your club are backing Mikel Arteta. Yes, he got the new deal. Yes, they spent £150 million next year. But Rome wasn't built in a day. To get Arsenal Football Club back to the highest level, they have to invest money. And if it costs 50 million on Gabriel Jesus, there's talk of, and we'll get onto later, on Victor Osimhen, costing up to 70 million. There's obviously Tielemans at around 25, 30. They're all experienced players. They're not babies. They're not fledglings. They're not just starting out in football. They're going to cost a little bit more money, especially as people know you need that experience. And I think Gabriel Jesus would be an absolute steal. And as a United fan looking at it, it makes Arsenal better instantly. You become a better team. You become a better footballing side. You become more deadly and potent up front. And if you just had a prolific goal scorer this year, I even remember during the good run where the link-up play with Lacazette was good. It was almost, but imagine having that link-up play and a finisher as a striker. Like, Arsenal would have made top four. If Gabriel Jesus signed on the 1st of January, in my opinion, Arsenal Football Club are in the Champions League right now. And that's got to be the aim, to get there so you can go to the next level and try and win again. So, I think really good business. I think Arsenal fans should be excited about it, no doubt.
Yeah, and I think, him being within the last year of his contract, Youri Tielemans being within the last year of his contract as well, it's kind of the vibe that I think Arsenal are going for. These players, if they had maybe more time on their contract, would cost more. So, it seems like a well thought out strategy to get better quality players to Arsenal, on, maybe a smaller fee. So, I think it ups the quality. Is it elite level quality, world class? No, but you have to start from where you're at. And so, I'd take Gabriel Jesus in a heartbeat. I have nothing wrong with this deal, and I would like it to get sorted as quickly as possible. He's also somebody that's kind of been on the fringes of the Brazilian national team, and they spoke about that a lot because, they have the likes of Neymar and Richarlison, and, these players are pretty much they've solidified their spots. Vinny Jr. is in there as well. And Gabriel Jesus has kind of fallen off a little bit, and that probably has something to do with his lack of playing time and lack of security in his position at Man City. So it's going to be important for him to get a move early and play a lot of minutes. And I think Arsenal would offer that to him. And I think Arsenal fans also have to realize that too. If Gabriel Jesus comes in, he's not going to be a squad player. He's going to be a significant player in the team. So, that makes things a little bit different when you start talking about the likes of Osimhen as well, which we'll talk about a little bit later, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, one of the stories we've got scrolling along the header at the bottom is that it looks like Arsenal have made a final offer for Eddie, an offer to Eddie Nketiah to get him to stay. Yeah. Do you think that if he stays and Gabriel Jesus signs, do you think that will be it for attackers? Because you are looking at Osimhen, but do you think it's Gabriel Jesus and Osimhen and Eddie Nketiah getting a new deal, or do you just think it'll be one signing and hopefully a renewal of Eddie Nketiah? What's feeling like coming out of the Arsenal press?
I mean, it's mixed. There's some outlets that are saying it's Osimhen plus Gabriel Jesus. I don't think that that's what it is. Personally, as much as we're probably just trying to see how much it would cost for Victor Osimhen, but in my mind, it's Eddie Nketiah becomes the backup. Gabriel Jesus is the number 9, and then we'll get a wide attacker. We've been linked with, Cody Gakpo for a very long time. I think that's the player that they probably want to bring in on the left-hand side, a true goal-scoring winger. We know Martinelli has amazing talent, but he hasn't really unlocked his finishing just yet. And ESR is probably going to end up being somewhere central as a number 10 or a number 8 or something like that. So we need a goal-scoring winger. And so if we brought in Gabriel Jesus and Nketiah signs a new deal, I do think that the next step to that would be to bring in a wide forward, somebody like that. So, I mean, we've been linked with a lot of the same-ish type of players. And so Cody Gakpo is somebody that I think we'd look to get if Eddie signed, which I can understand why people would be disappointed in that. I mean, for me, it's a little bit like I'd rather him go. I'd rather Eddie Nketiah go, move on, because I'm not sure, like a lot of people are convinced on his talent. I'm not. I think, when you have such a small sample size, it could go either way. And if Gabriel Jesus were to get injured, what do you do? I'm not sure that I would trust Eddie Nketiah after a long, if our main striker was injured for a long time. So that's a huge risk that Arsenal would take, and that's on them. But I would prefer Eddie just go. So it forces Arsenal to have to go out there in the market and get more than one striker.
Yeah, it's going to be very intriguing to see. As you say, it's funny. I'm not going to call out no names because people get offended by it. But there's a few like Arsenal accounts I follow that all I see is them sharing really positive stories in the sense of it's always this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, this will then happen. And I just think no one's windows are that plain sailing. Look at Real Madrid and the position they're in as a club, champions of Spain, in a Champions League final, and they've just missed out on the target they thought they had in the bag. Anything can happen at any moment. And I don't know. I feel like Gabriel Jesus, it feels like a shoe-in. It really does. I don't personally see you spending 50 million on him and 60, 70 million on Osimhen, especially if Eddie Nketiah signs a new deal. And the fact that you're offering Eddie or Nketiah a new deal tells me you're going to sign one plus Eddie. If Eddie says no, maybe you'll go for two, but it could be a cheaper option. But look, we've been shocked and surprised by Arsenal in the past. Another player that I really want to get your take on, of course, is Youri Tielemans. Because Youri Tielemans, it's an interesting one because, again, a lot of Arsenal fans have been triggered by Ben Jacob yesterday that said that Arsenal have got some work to do in terms of convincing Youri Tielemans that Arsenal is still the right place for him. They were reportedly leading the race as only a short time ago in January. But the lack of Champions League football means that he'll need convincing. Other teams may come in to try and gatecrash this, the likes of Spurs. Real Madrid, there is very loose talks at this moment in time, but I think the signing of, before when Ben was saying that, actually, the Tielemans news hadn't come out that he picked them, so that could really change things. Youri Tielemans, I know you're not his biggest fan, but does that also feel like a deal that Arsenal are really going to push for? There's talks of a £25 million bid. How do you see him fitting in at Arsenal?
Yeah, I think this one is not as like a shoe-in as Gabriel Jesus, but I think this one really could happen because, not the Ben Jacobs, he makes a lot of sense that you'll have to do some convincing. The reality is where we are, most players that are of quality will need some convincing. And a lot of times convincing means more money, a better package, more incentive. And so that's just the reality. When you're outside of the Champions League, you're going to have to pay more. When the likes of, Aston Villa are bringing in Boubacar Kamara, it wasn't just because he wanted to come to Aston Villa, it's because they were willing to pay his wages. So it's just a matter of putting together a really good package. I know Dean Jones said that as well on his show, that it's more about what the package is going to be like, not necessarily, he just wanted Champions League and he wouldn't even consider Arsenal in Europa League. Those, I think, obviously he preferred Champions League, but also depends who else is in for him and what the playing style is like. I think a lot of people also just forget that aspect of things as well. A Champions League level team may want you, but they may say you're going to have to rotate with so-and-so. You may not get as much playing time. We play in this system, blah, blah, blah. So for me, Youri Tielemans makes a lot of sense for what we've missed this season. When we played more with Granit Xhaka further forward, when he got into the final third, he got a nosebleed. He had no idea what to do in and around the box, where Youri Tielemans is much more used to being like an attacking 8. So it makes a lot of sense for us to go after this player again. 1 year left on his contract. Could get him for probably about 25 to 35 million. Probably have to make the contract a little bit more attractive because we're outside of Champions League. But the fact that like Ornstein is talking about it in such a confident way as well lets me know that this is something that Arsenal feel like they can get done. Yeah. So they must have spoken to him at least. My only apprehension around all of this is we still lack physicality in midfield without Thomas Partey. He's 100% getting injured again next season. Like, they have to know that.
Yeah.
And so you can't just have Youri Tielemans and Odegaard in your midfield. And I think that is what worries me. And especially if you don't go out and you get an Osimhen, you don't really go out there and push and bring in a player that's going to cost you 65, 75, 85 million pounds, then I expect the money to be spread across, positions that we really need. We need an attacking 8, but we also need somebody to back up Thomas Partey. So if we don't do that, I'm going to be furious. 2 seasons in a row where you got to get that done. So I like Youri Tielemans. I think it's something we can get done, but you can't bring him in and not bring in another CDM, and Bissouma's sitting over there for 30 million. Aston Villa look like they want to bring him in after they got Boubacar Kamara. Like, why can't we step in and try to get him as well? Like, it's just kind of like, it's so obvious. Yeah. Like, why not try to get him?
Do you know what's interesting about Villa going for both those players, if they sign them both? And this isn't a dig. It's almost, if they're both as good as I think they are, this is on my own knowledge, why are Villa leading the race and nobody else is really making a move? That's my only concern, is no one's making a move.
I think it might have something to do with the big clubs are not willing to take the risk on Bissouma because of that case. It's something that it looks like it could be solved this summer. So you may see people do a U-turn. But a club like Aston Villa, which is no offense to Aston Villa, but if the bigger clubs are not willing to take the risk, of course, you're going to put your hat in the ring because otherwise you wouldn't ever have the opportunity. But I think that's I don't think like Manchester United are looking at Milinković-Savić. He's obviously a really quality player, and whatever it would take to get him there, would you rather give him the wages or would you rather give Boubacar Kamara the wages? Because he wanted 140K per week. Any top club that's kind of has bigger targets is not going to give that to Boubacar Kamara. So I think it has something to do with that as well. But Bissouma is somebody that if he was cleared of his case, we have to put in the $30 million bid. We have to.
Yeah.
Why not?
Look, I rate both players. I really do. And, when the news came out about Kamara, I was disappointed because I felt he was a player that you're picking him up on a free. Yes, when you buy players on a free, you generally pay a bigger signing on fee, bigger agent fees, and slightly more salary. But you still tend to operate over the course of the contract of that player. You're normally better off by 30%, sometimes as much as 40% of overall costs. And it just looks like a good option. Villa got him. If they get Bissouma as well, suddenly you look at that team with Coutinho in front of them. Yes, it's not going to challenge for the top 4, with all due respect to Steven Gerrard and Villa, but it's a team.
But it's a strong team. Like it is. It's a strong team on paper. Yeah,
of course it is. And they showed at times this year they could be a strong team. They need more. They had a better centre back than Tyrone Mings. They'd have won a lot more points under Gerrard as well. So they're looking like they're going to do some bits. There's no doubt. And look, I look at the Youri Tielemans things like this. I listen back to what Ben Jacobs said. I got a number of Arsenal fans, Benny Blanco. I know you're watching because you watch all my stuff because you're always talking about me. And I respect that. Thank you. It's sort of like, no, it's been debunked. And this is where Arsenal fans have got to be careful. Got to be careful. No, Terry, it's already been debunked. Camp have already said he's willing to play Europa League football. Can you send me the link, please? I get the link. And the headline says it and the story says it. The representatives of Tielemans have said that the player is open to playing Europa League football, which plugs into what you've said. Pay me a little bit more money then, and show me that the project is going to get us into the Champions League. If he gets offers from, listen, and Tottenham's names come up in this. Tottenham look like they're going to spend 150 to 200 million pounds this summer. They look like they are going to get completely behind what Antonio Conte wants. They also have the Champions League football. They're one of the best managers in the world. I am not throwing salt at Arsenal at all, But Man United are pretty much ruled out of the race for Tielemans, and we were looking at him, and it's because there's no Champions League football. Arsenal's situation is a little different because I believe I read today he was an Arsenal fan. They were leading the race for him. There was a lot of attraction from him to the club. But still, if a Champions League team with a better project who offer him more money come in, for any Arsenal fan to think that it isn't conceivable that he says no, I just think you're deluding yourself. You're setting yourself up for disappointment and failure. And, I think that people want to push away. It's kind of weird. It's a weird attempt, I think, from certain Arsenal fans to go, right, we're going to reject any notion of any other team coming in for him. Because what we don't want it to ever be spun as is that, we have to offer him more money to stay. It's almost like we just want it to be that only us were there. He only wanted us. It's like some people live in fantasy land to think that a finite amount of players go, listen, it doesn't matter who else comes in. There's only one club for me. All their minds can be changed. Look, Real Madrid have had it happen to them recently. At any moment, at any time, people can change their minds. But that's just my take. There's a comment here I wanted to read out to you from Daniel, who's a City fan, that says, Terry, why are some Arsenal fans rating Osimhen more than Gabriel Jesus? Jesus is a way better player and can also play on the wing, 4 times Premier League champion. If you could pick one of the two, Jess, I'm going to change the question to you. If you had to pick one of the two, who are you picking to lead your line next year? Osimhen or Gabriel Jesus?
I agree with Daniel. I think you get more with Jesus than you would get with Osimhen at the moment, because we all know what it's like, when you bring in a player from another league. I think his highest goal tally was 15 goals or something like that. You can get him in the Premier League, and that could be half of that. You never know. So I think with Jesus, it's a sure thing. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get a really quality player that can play in multiple positions across the front line. And when we played our best games, it was with Lacazette up top. And Gabriel Jesus is pretty much 50 times the footballer of Lacazette, but can also just score more goals as well. So I think I would choose Jesus just based on that. But Arsenal fans just want a big signing. They want a signing that costs a lot of money. That's what they want. And Osimhen represents that. But we still need to cover 5-6 positions. So if you get Osimhen, what are you willing to give up? And Arsenal fans aren't really willing to give up a lot. So they just need to, keep it real. Osimhen, what a great signing that would be. But we just need to make sure we're getting the most bang for our buck.
I think what's really interesting about the Victor Osimhen situation is he's obviously talented, very good goal scorer, but he's fashionable. It's the name on the end of everybody's tongues, and Nkunku, nobody, and I know this for facts because I cover transfers across multiple teams. Last summer, both these two names were seldom mentioned on. I watch streams of a lot of Arsenal content creators. I watch the streams of Man United content creators. Obviously, I do a lot of my own. And I use Nkunku and Osimhen as examples. Their names last year, when everybody was being linked to strikers, I don't remember them. I remember a few people mentioning Osimhen, but not very many. Now suddenly they have to be done. They're X, they're Y, they're Z. I'm not suggesting that either of those players won't cut it in the Premier League. I think they're both highly talented. But we have this habit of ranking everything that's new and fashionable above things that have been around a while and been there and done it and kind of delivered. You saw what happened when Liverpool went after Jota. There was this, Jota, well, 3 or 4 years ago, when he was this young gun coming through at Ati, everybody was excited about him. He goes to Wolves, does these bits and pieces. Everybody gets a bit bored and they forget how good he is. You have it with managers. Eddie Howe, 4 years ago in the Premier League, flavour of the month. Oh, he's going to take over this club. He should be the England manager. Oh, look at his tactics. He creates ballers. And then everyone gets a bit bored because they're used to him now. And now they move on to Graham Potter. Graham Potter's the new guy. Eddie Howe comes back to Newcastle and shows how good he is. I'm not having a go at the two players, but people, for me, they back the player that's more fashionable, that gets more traction online. And I think that's why you need your clubs to have a brain and not necessarily go, right, you know what? The fans actually want this guy. Therefore, he'll be more popular, more social media traction. Maybe
that's
more
how we ended up with Pepe.
There we go.
The club listened to the Arsenal fans and said we needed a big signing, So I don't know. KJ's asking if your mic is on.
Is my mic on? Of course my mic's on. Unless...
It sounds echoey. You don't sound professional.
Oh, hang on. I don't know. I mean, the crazy thing, I don't ever know unless somebody else tells me. Just give me a second to listen to it back. Bear with me a second, people. It did this the other day. Let me just see.
It did this, guys. It did this just magically. I can't hear you. Anyways, guys. Huh? Oh, okay. So I guess I'm hosting because you can't hear Terry.
Any better?
Oh, he's back. He's back, guys.
Let me just check what my mic sounded like. Hang on.
It sounds a little bit better now, actually. Yeah.
KJ
said it's better. KJ said it's better.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, no one even said anything in the comments, which is strange. But anyway, let's continue with what you were saying. Sorry.
What? Oh yeah. So the whole thing about Gabriel Jesus is, I know people won't be excited about it. I know it's not the name that they want to hear. Blah blah blah. But it's a sure thing. You're getting a 4-time Premier League winner, played in the best team in the Premier League, scores goals, better technical player than anybody that we have on our team right now. Like, it's fine, and you can still go out there and get a left winger as well to bolster the attack. It is what it is, so I'm cool with it. I'm good with both signings. You still need more, but I'm okay with both signings. Like, it is what it is. You're muted.
I've been checking the microphone and I went back and listened. It was fine. It's just this room, I think. It's all good. Anyway. I think from my point of view, Arsenal need as many quality signings as possible, but it almost becomes a bit weird and nitpicky because both Gabriel Jesus and Osimhen are both brilliant as well. By the way, they're both very, very good. It's almost like being a spoilt brat. Oh, I didn't get, I'm going to get a Ferrari or a Lambo. Yeah, but the Ferrari does 0 to 100 in 6 seconds, and the Lambo takes 6.5. I don't want the Lambo. It's weird things to hear people kind of arguing about. Your mic was fine, Terry. I don't know what Karen's talking about. No, it wasn't Jess. It was KJ backstage.
It was KJ, not me.
The room's become a little more echoey recently, and I can't work out why, because it's the same damn room.
The room is more echoey now?
Well, that can be the only explanation, because it's the same mic, same mixer. I don't know.
How does the room get more echoey?
Well, KJ, I'm going to go off this. I've just listened to it back, and it's how it always sounds when we're in here. But anyway, look, that's not...
Okay, so KJ doesn't know how to do his job. Okay, fine, cool.
It's not that. It's not that. Maybe it went out. Guys, I'll just say I'm leaving it. We're moving on. Like, let's just move on. It's not that deep. It's just a bit of a joke. But yeah, KJ hasn't done his job right, basically.
All right, cool.
He's backstage. He's going, rah! He's walking off. In fairness, it was a bit like that the other day. There was a super chat that came through that I missed. I want to go back to some of the previous ones. Kelvin Phillips linked to Man City we'll touch on. Terry, you changed the title from Klopp Creates Outrage to Klopp Outrage. Yeah, explain, bruv. Some of you Liverpool, explain. Because I didn't have enough letters for the rest of the title in. And whether it's Klopp, there is Klopp Outrage. People are outraged at Klopp. Like, just wait and listen to us talk about it. Just slow your roll, brother. Good stream as usual with Jess, but Terry, are you not going to do a final straight facts? The final straight facts was last week.
Why do you guys care about Lee Gunner right now? I'm here. Why are you asking about Lee Gunner? I'm here. Like, dang. It's fine.
Yeah. It's
you already got the last one of those. So
yeah, we're back later on in the year. Big up Terry and Dress. The thing with Gabriel Jesus coming from a City fan, I've heard the deal is going to be worth £50 million, which is higher for someone who has 1 year left on their contract.
See, the thing about it, though, you guys, is like, and this is what I can't stand this about Arsenal fans as well. They want, like if we had a player that only had a year left, they'd expect a team to still pay for them. The only time that having 1 year left becomes significant is if the team that they're coming from can't afford to lose them on a free. That's the only time it's relevant. So like for Arsenal, we can't afford to lose our players for free because us trying to replace them, because we don't have the same type of owners as Manchester City. Man City don't actually want to sell Gabriel Jesus. They could afford to keep him or not. So they're a well-run club. Of course, they'll want money for him, but it's only, the price only drops significantly if the club that they're coming from cannot afford to lose them on a free. And we know that that's not the case with Manchester City. So they can put the price at 50 million, you know, and they know what the striker market looks like. They've been in it, you know, so at this point it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to have to pay between 45 and 55 million for Gabriel Jesus.
Plus, on top of that, what we don't know is you remember when everybody thought there was a Jadon Sancho, oh, he's going into his last 2 years, and then suddenly it was announced there was a 1 year extension that was triggered, and no one knew it existed. Who knows what's in Gabriel Jesus' contract? Arsenal might have been made aware. Yeah, there is. By the way, there is an extension clause that that City could trigger to go to 2 years. Therefore, drop this notion that he's going into the last year of his contract. Plus, it's like you've already said, it's what that £50 million is worth. If that £50 million leads to you making it into the Champions League, it's worth the investment. If you go, we're paying no more than 30, they say no, and you end up with Tammy Abraham, who, yes, has done well in Serie A. I do get a distinct feeling that if he came back to the Prem, it would be like Lukaku 2.0. That's maybe a good league for him. And then you missed out on the Champions League. You're actually, again, financially, you're worse off. If you spend 30 million on a striker and don't get Champions League, you're worse. You've made less money than spending 50 million and making the Champions League. And that's where Arsenal are. Arsenal must gamble. And you've lowered the wage bill, which is a weird thing to celebrate, unless you're willing to see it go back up again. I keep seeing gooners, oh, we don't want a high wage bill. Well, you're not going to sign top quality players in 2022 without a high bloody wage bill. It's mental. I want to say quickly as well, KJ, I just listened back to the mic now. There was a slight echo in it. You were right. Yeah. But not, it was a weird one. He's actually, KJ did a very
Terry
good job.
was wrong, and he doesn't know how to do his job.
Oh, it's not so much that I was wrong.
I need to
Jess,
assign blame.
I'm muting you a minute. I'm muting you for a second, Jess. The reason that I couldn't hear properly is because you wouldn't stop talking when I was trying to listen. It was your big mouth, Jess. That's what it was. It was Jess that wasn't professional. You want to assign blame? Who do you want to assign blame to? I'm assigning blame to Jess on this one because I could hear what was being said.
You need to assign blame. Definitely your fault.
Assign blame. There we go. We're going to talk a little bit about Liverpool a bit later on the show. Another big transfer.
I'm scared to do that. They're ready in the comments. Like, I'm actually scared to do that.
Someone here says, Terry, Serge Gnabry links to Arsenal, true or false? Well, the links are true because I've read them. Will he come back to Arsenal? I don't know. He'll be expensive as well. So maybe. But then does he play left or right predominantly? You'll know. You watch a lot more European football than me. I want to say left.
I think he plays more off of the right, but he plays, you know, both sides. I mean, it just came from, is it Falk or one of those from Build? It just came out like 2 seconds ago that we're interested in him.
Fair enough. Fair enough. There we go. Yeah, I mean, the link's definitely true. The link is definitely true. Some in the know link Gnabry to United. I don't know who did that. I don't think we'll go for him. I don't even want him, to be honest with you. We've got Rashford. That's a joke, people. That's called satire. Not everybody likes it, but there we go. Milinkovic-Savić. Such interesting reports around him because we've been linked to this guy for
like years.
4 years. 4 years. 4 years we've been linked to this brother.
This is the year. This is it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, the links to him now, the journalists talking about it are credible. You know, I'm looking at it now. Lots of different people, verified individuals that have got lots of other transfers right, have now said that Man United have made a second bid. What's interesting is Jonathan Schrager, I think his name is Schrager is his name. He's this man. He's a good Man United journalist. He's very well informed, but I kind of get the feeling that he's always he'll tell us what the club is telling him. And whenever a transfer or a bid or an offer, an inquiry is made, but it looks like United are not going to be successful, he reminds me of like the James Pearces of Liverpool. No, nothing happening. Nothing went on. There was no talks. All gets shut down very, very quickly. I get the feeling that the reports are that a second bid has gone in of 65 million euros. Jonathan Shagnar's story is interesting because he said there's been no bid, but a bid of over 65 when it was reportedly a bid of 50 million. But he said if a bid over 60 million comes in, maybe they would consider it. Now the story is a bid of over 60 million has come in. It's whether or not that bid has come true. But Milinkovic-Savić as a replacement for Paul Pogba, can you see that deal happening?
I thought you were going to ask me about the player.
I will ask you about the player, but I'm asking.
That was like a weird question. You were like, okay, whatever. But yeah, I think so. I mean, why not? You know, why not? Like, it's not like he's at like a top club right now. You probably just need to stump up the cash. Why wouldn't he want to go to Manchester United? You need a player like that. Why not? I don't see why you wouldn't get that player. You know? I mean, what do you think? You don't think?
Is he good enough though in your eyes?
I mean, he ain't no Paul Pogba, but you know, there's not a lot of Paul Pogbas out there. That's why he is Paul. You know, but it's my only thing about Savic is, does he have like the agility and the athleticism to play in the Premier League? Because we know how it is. You don't have to be like lightning quick, but you don't want him to look really good in Italy and then look like Xhaka in the Premier League. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that can happen to players. That's my only thing, but it's not that big of a deal. Rodri plays for Manchester City. He's not necessarily athletic or fast or anything like that. He just fine. It's about the system. It's about positions and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think he'd be a good kind of replacement for Paul Pogba. I guess my question is he in conjunction with De Jong or instead of De Jong? Because I still don't see that like destroyer central midfielder there yet that I feel like you guys need.
I agree. I can't see it being in conjunction with Frankie De Jong. If Frankie De Jong happens, and there is, I mean, every credible journalist is from saying that there are talks right through to it's 95% done. The Frankie De Jong deal is on. The Frankie De Jong deal is being discussed. I don't see us having the budget to sign both. Both are around 65 million. I mean,
that is the budget, isn't it? That's like, because you kind of also need to sell players, and you need a right back and a center back.
The way Man United, I'm being really honest with you. The way Man United, I'm disappointed you've said that, Jay, because you're so much smarter than that. The way Manchester United have been reported on, every other club's been discussed about having a 150 million pound-ish kitty, and everyone's excited. Man United is spoken about as being about 120 plus topped up with sales, which means it's about 150. And yet everyone's going, United have got no money. It's such a weird.
I didn't say you don't have money. I'm just saying you have to spread it across a couple of more players than that.
But then you guys are getting excited about like a couple of players that you're getting to buy, and it's like that's your budget as well. But you guys need more than that, and that's not a dig. It's sort of like,
well, when I count up the players that we're gonna get, or I think we're gonna get, and I put the money and I look at it and I add it together, it comes to about 150.
Well, I'm not talking you. I'm talking about Arsenal fans in general that say, that we can get Osimhen and Osimhen at 70, and then like Gabriel Jesus at around the 55 million mark. Like that's a large part of your budget gone, as an example. Equally, signing Milinkovic-Savić and De Jong would be a large part of our budget. But that's why, I mean, I don't see it happening. I do see there being I don't see us having 100 million. I've seen some reports say we've got 100 million pounds to spend this year. There's just no way there's £100 million only at Man United to spend.
Maybe. You never know.
I
Times
would
are hard.
honestly, we'll have a $500 bet now. We spend more than £100 million this summer. Okay, let me rephrase that. We'll make.
I don't feel that strongly about it to bet.
Yeah, no, that's my point. It's kind of a weird story that's being reported about us, like we've got no money, and it's sort of like, even with the Glazers, historically, new managers, we go big. Like, I don't know, maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. I think we do, but I don't see us, back to this story, I don't see us signing both. I think it's one or the other. I think Milinkovic-Savić is a backup option for Frankie de Jong, and this is very this is normal. It's, again, we're fans. I don't really blame fans anymore. I blame the tier 1 journalists who don't ever explain this, ever, and they should. Well, how can we be working on Milinkovic-Savić and Frankie de Jong? It don't make sense. Well, because you might miss out on Frankie de Jong. I mean, imagine you spend no time working on any other deals. You miss out on Frankie de Jong, and then you're caught there with your cock in your hand. Oh, shit, what am I going to do? Like, it's honestly, like, sometimes it makes people give my ass an headache with the nonsense they speak. I think it's a backup deal. I wouldn't be surprised if an offer's gone in. I think it'll be an unofficial offer. I don't think it'll be a genuine bid at this time. Him as a player, though, I don't know. I look at it along the lines of him as a player. I think he's really talented, but it's like anyone of that age, the league that they've been in. You never quite know if they're going to translate to the Premier League. Having said that, look at everybody said about Stiff Kulusevski. Stiff not wanted Bentancur from the same league. Everybody acted like, oh my God, Spurs have bought duds, and they've been absolutely brilliant. And then you'll get other players, Lukaku returning would be a prime example. You know, oh, he's going to come back and kill it. And we all get these things right, and we all get these things wrong at times. And I remember when Man United signed Bastian Schweinsteiger, everybody thought, wow, this is going to be a player. Not so much. You know, he didn't deliver. But if that's the midfielder that we bring in to replace Pogba, am I going to cry and be like, oh my God, no, it's a quality football player. It really is a quality football player. And I do, right now, I trust Erik ten Hag. I have a feeling that he's going to try and do the right thing. I don't think he wants players that don't fit his system. Let's see what happens, though. But yeah, from my point of view, we're definitely not getting both. 65 million euros, it's a decent amount of money. Most of our budget, but
it's most of the budget.
Most of the budget. No, it could be. You could be right. It could be most.
You're a banker. You know how to do a budget. You understand financials.
Yeah, I mean, it
wouldn't even footballing wise. It doesn't make sense, like, to do both. You know, so it's one or the other. You still need to get a CDM in there. Got to.
Yeah, that's more what I want to. And interestingly, we're not really linked to very many. There was
that's what's strange. Like, there's no links.
N'Golo Kante was who we were linked to first and foremost. We had a bit. That was a loose link that no one really believed in. Nearly every other player I've seen us linked to have been a forward, a centre back, or more of a box to box or attacking midfield player. I don't like putting the numbers on it. I'm sick and tired of hearing the word 6 and 8. It just bores me. Do you know what I don't like about the whole 6 and 8 thing? When people go, oh, he's such a good 6. No, he's not a 6. He's an 8. He's not an 8. He's an inverted 7. And I'm like, oh, do you know what? Is he a central midfielder? Yeah, he's a central midfielder. Cool, thanks. I'm sick and tired of these hipsters that try and he's a central midfielder. But yeah, it's so boring now. So boring hearing hipsters fight through their check shirts and weird beards. Your beard's weird. So there we go. Jess, United have more money than you lot is what David's got to see here.
It's called joking. We're just having fun. I don't think Man United are broke. It's a joke.
Bash here. Look, I mean, long time no see, Bash. Hope you're well. He says, Terry, 2 years ago, I called in and talked about Milinkovic-Savić. He is quality, but I think it's an owner's pick, not Ten Hag's. Also, 65 million is a little bit high. That'd be intriguing. Enzo Fernandez. I've not seen that link. I have not seen, and I don't even know who Enzo Fernandez is. Who is he, Jess? You know about these stuff.
I don't know who that is.
An Argentinian, 21 years of age, central midfielder, plays for River Plate. Oh, no, do you know what? I have seen the link now. I swear I've read that City are in for him as well. Is that right, KJ? He's backstage? I know there's a... Yeah, that's the one, the River Plate player. I have heard about it now. Cool. Yeah, I mean, him... That's more of a risk than anyone else in Europe. I mean, signing directly from South America always comes with a risk.
You have to have like really good scouting and like really trust it, you know.
Yeah, our
You have to
scouting
really trust it. It's so difficult because they look good on those compilations, but those leagues, they're not very good. So
my man Terry Flewis had Justin Timberlake next to his Bruce Lee poster growing up. The man is an onion, many layers, legend. I did have a picture of Bruce Lee up on my wall, to be fair. I had a picture of him. I had Van Damme. I had Cynthia Rothrock. Quite a few like sort of legends of the martial arts sort of screen fighting scene. Young Buell. I love Young Buell. People don't know he is. Young Buell is like one of the three that came out of the sort of the Jackie Chan era. Great guy. Young Buell. What an absolute don of a martial artist. But there we go.
Please.
There we go. No, people like hearing about things that are not football related. Just because you live.
They don't want to hear about your.
No, my viewers like hearing about my life. I'm like, just not my fault. You're boring, Jay. Come on now. It's not my fault. You're boring. You didn't do anything.
I'm just saying your life was boring.
My life is boring.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate that. Some more super chats here. There's zero chance that Savic is coming to Manchester United. It's all paper talks. His agent is spreading this. Great show. Keep it up. I mean, that's not a bad take, Nabil. That could very much be the truth.
Zero chance. Zero.
Zero, he says.
Zero.
None.
No
None.
chance whatsoever. All right. Yeah, I guess.
There's a comment here. I'm not going to put it up. Terry, I'm not going to read that.
Is it
Terry,
mean towards me? Show me.
No, it's not mean towards you. It says, Terry, are you a girthy boy? I do all right, brother. I do all right. I'm good. I'm good in them areas. Hakeem here says, trouble with Savic is he thrived this year on an attacking role, and we've just given Bruno a new contract. It's weird, but Erik ten Hag wants him. I'm cool. And Hakeem, I agree with your take there. We don't know how Erik ten Hag's going to set up. We don't know who he's going to play. We don't know who's going to be in what role. We don't know anything. We've also moaned a lot as Man United fans about we're always playing with two holding midfield players, and we need two more forward-thinking midfielders that are more box-to-box. 4-3-3 would be the standout stereotypical formation. Maybe that's part of his plan. Maybe he wants that, and maybe they're, all. So I don't know what his plan is. Nobody knows what his plan is. It's all speculation. But if he brings him in, there has to be a method to the madness. But also, Nabil thinks, as before, that it could be a paper talk. And there was somebody else that said it could be a Glazer signing. So we'll see.
So what's about to happen with Donny van de Beek then? Is he just going to come back? Like, is there any talk about like what the plan is with him? Because
the manager has said, I look forward to working with him again, blah, 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 which was, again, we all knew that was going to be the answer. I love Donny. Donny's great.
Well, what is your guess? Like, if he's not giving, what is your guess?
My guess is going to give Donny a chance. My guess is that Donny's going to get an opportunity to play for him. I'm intrigued. I mean,
is it the system and it was just bad coaching and it just the wrong thing at the wrong time? Or is he not fit for the Premier League? Because that was the narrative. And
this is what we're going to get the answers to, Jay. This is what's going to happen because, and I'm telling you now, because look, we spoke about this towards the end of the season, didn't we? That there are a number of football fans. We spoke specifically about Arsenal because we were talking about Arsenal, but there's fans in every fan base now. Quite a few come on the terrace who them being right is more important than their football club. So there are some Man United fans right now cacking themselves. Oh my God. I'm going to look so stupid. All the tweets about Ollie being a bully. There was a guy that went viral for tweeting that Ollie's treatment of Donny is worse than Jose's treatment of Martial and or Luke Shaw, one of the two. If Erik ten Hag comes in and doesn't play him, some of these guys are in the mud and it really matters to them. Interestingly, we've already seen a select group of Man United fans already turning on Erik ten Hag because he didn't call the Glazers out and didn't set high enough expectations and didn't demand big money be spent in his first press conference. and because he praised Maguire. They're already, I've turned my back on this manager because of those things. So listen, the Donny situation, you will see this. It's going to create noise from the fan base. A lot of people are desperate for him to play, not for Man United, but for themselves to go, I told you, I know ball, bruv. And that's all you're going to hear. I know ball, bruv, is all you're going to hear from them. Please, some YouTube channel, sign me up. I know more than everybody else. I'm so good. That's what it's all about. It really, really is. Oh, breaking news. Vincent Kompany is the new Burnley manager. There's so much irony in that. Okay,
For
the reason that
something like that, I thought it was a joke.
Well, do you know what's funny? A lot of people didn't like Burnley because the running joke, the joke reason, this wasn't the joke reason was they didn't have enough diversity within their squad. And the irony in it is there'd be only one of 2 Premier League teams to have a black manager if they'd have stayed in the Premier League. I'm sorry. It's just irony in that. It's hilarious. It really, really is. Yeah, Burnley beating the Brexit allegations. There's no need for your sarcasm there, Jess. There's no need for it. There's no need for sarcasm.
You're laughing so hard at your own joke.
No, it's just I love irony. Burnley not racists confirmed, but that's the point.
Well, once they signed Cornet, I knew that they weren't. Cornet was there.
But people do pick teams for those reasons. Like if you ever ask Phil Green, who's been on the terrace, why did he pick Arsenal? He'll tell you the honest truth. He had a book. I don't know why my internet is running so mad. I'm literally plugged in to the internet here. It should be no problem.
The funny thing as well, you guys, is before the stream started, he was talking to me about how bad my internet was, and look at him, he's all chopped up and cracked up over there.
This lead is like broke. It isn't clicking into this laptop properly. It's annoying me. Like it's not, you know, when I push it in, it isn't like clicking in. It's very annoying. But yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Plus, the Wi-Fi is so strong here, it shouldn't do it at all, but it is, and it's very, very, very annoying. But yeah, that news is out there. Aside from that, I wanted to speak about the manager of the year situation. Manager of the year yesterday, it was trending everywhere. People frustrated with Jurgen Klopp being awarded manager of the year and the LMA manager of the year. Like what's your take on the situation?
He didn't really, I don't really understand why he got it. Like, I don't really get it. Because, like, the obvious 2 choices are Pep Guardiola or Eddie Howe. Like, most people, either it's the manager, you know, the season or whatever is usually the guy who wins it, you know? Or it's Eddie Howe, you know, the manager that took, you know, a Newcastle team that hadn't like won a game, you know, all the way up the table, had all these points, and really just did something that people haven't really seen before. So for them to give it to Jurgen Klopp, it's like, but why though? For what reason? And that's not to say that he's not an amazing manager. We all know he is, but what did he do that was so special this season beyond get really close to winning the Premier League title, but ultimately losing it out to Pep Guardiola? Like, we're talking about the Premier League, not the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. You know, those are separate to it. So it's odd that they gave it to him. It's just odd. I think most of us can say that, like, regardless of where you kind of sit and who your team is, it should have been either Eddie Howe or Pep Guardiola, right?
I mean, look, let me just start off by saying I've been telling people, again, 9 years I've been running this campaign and nobody ever wants to listen, but you should listen to your daddy.
Not a campaign.
Individual awards are flawed and pointless because every time they're given out, there's this big argument because what I mean is this. My whole life, I've seen these awards given out, and every award I ever remember being given, whether it was in the playground, whether it was in a workplace, whether it's been on social media, whether it was other fans, it's always been hotly contested. There's very rarely universal agreement. It's like, oh, it's this, or oh, it should have been this guy. which means they're not always picking the person that everybody thinks is the best anyway. So everyone knows I'm not a fan of awards. I saw a tweet earlier, though, that says Jurgen Klopp didn't win a single game against the top 4 in the Premier League this season, spent less time at the summit than Spurs, didn't win the league, but won Manager of the Season. I understand the LMA Manager of the Year award because that's going to look at the overall achievements. The guy got to the guy's team.
That's the one that I think he deserved to win.
Yes,
that's the one.
But the Premier League Award of the Year is for the best manager in the silo of the Premier League. So him winning it is strange as hell because I felt that Eddie Howe, Pep Guardiola, I also thought I feel like David Moyes, again, his achievements with West Ham and their budget and what they spent and what he's done this year is gargantuan. All deserved it more than him. For the Premier League stuff. The LMA Manager of the Year award, I think Klopp deserves it because he's won 2 finals. He almost won the league and he's in the Champions League final and they were so close to completing.
Yeah, 100%.
They were a 10-minute comeback away from completing a quad. But I feel like the Manager of the Year in the Premier League, yeah, but it is what it is, and he's won it. What I find funny, again, is the outrage people have. But again, the same Liverpool fans that I see defending it going, no, he deserves it for all these reasons. A few days earlier, were complaining and saying that the whole system's flawed when KDB won Player of the Year. That's why I'd say to people, I don't care when you line up how many Player of the Year awards your favorite players had versus mine, because in the moment now, in this last year, you've had Jorginho come 3rd for a World Player of the Year award. And everyone's like, he ain't the 3rd best player in the world. And he wasn't the 3rd best player in the world. It's nonsense. But you know what will happen in like 10 years if he's got this massive legacy? And that might be a debate in Italy. Oh, but he come 3rd in the Ballon d'Or once, and your favorite midfielder didn't even come in the top 10. But we know now in the moment that everybody thought that was a joke. It's the player award. The player awards and individual awards are what they are. And look, I think Liverpool winning them is based on 2 things. Far more traction in giving it to Jurgen Klopp than there is Pep Guardiola as well. It's going to get a lot more attention. Liverpool have got a huge fan base, huge media presence, huge social media presence, and it does all that. I think that's played a part in the Premier League one. The LMA Manager of the Year award, there isn't anybody else that deserves it more than him because of everything that he's achieved. I think they're going to beat Real Madrid. We're going to get onto the previews from tomorrow on the terrace. But there we go. As I say, that's another conversation for another day. But
see, what people will hear, though, is we said Klopp is crap.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Like, literally.
Tears. There's no tears. There's 0 tears. It's a confusing, the same as I don't think KDB's been the best player this year. I think it's overall, Mo Salah and Son. And I went for Son in the end because Son was clutch in the back end of the season. And why do I think that's important? Because clutch moments is such an integral part of football. The reason that players like Didier Drogba are propelled from being very good strikers to one of the best ever is the amount of times in the Premier League era. Is the amount of times he came up in cup games, in finals, in semis, or in decisive Premier League games he delivered. And Son did that a lot, right? You know, the business end of the season for Tottenham, he did it. But if Mo Salah or Son won it, I'd be like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When it came out as KDB, I thought, it's very weird. It's very strange. Interestingly, when I said that, City fans are like, see, I told you he's a Liverpool fan. I'm literally saying the opposite thing now, and it'll be Liverpool fans going, oh, he prefers City to us. No, just take it for what it is. Jurgen Klopp didn't deserve to win the Premier League Manager of the Year, but he definitely deserved the LMA Manager of the Year award because the LMA is looking at all achievements across all tournaments. But there we go. Jess, where did you say Liverpool would finish again?
I said that they would finish mid-table with the team that they have. That's what I said.
Arteta should. Arteta wasn't even nominated, and you lot were talking about how great he was. That is actually quite funny. Brandon's here says, "Oh, it's Brandon. Brandon, how are you, mate? I just see the little cartoon picture. Arteta should have got Manager of the Year. He's done such a great job getting 5th this season. It's seriously underrated, and he's only spent 250 million." Is what Brandon says.
So funny, Brandon had started to turn around when he thought that we were going to get top 4, and now he's back. He's back.
You call him Brandon flip-flop?
Yeah. He started turning it around, started turning this way, and then he was like, oh, no, we didn't make it. So now, yeah, so But yeah, fair enough. I don't think Arteta deserved any sort of award or anything.
No, he certainly not for choking and bottling it the way that he did. No way. Jess, do you believe next season in Tierney's will be Tierney's last final season if he can't keep injury free? And do you believe Arteta gets found out with more games and comps? Great question.
No. I think the Arsenal fan base is overreacting with the whole Tierney. First of all, he's basically our captain. He's not going anywhere. What Arsenal need to do is stop running the kid into the ground. Tell him not to play friendlies for Scotland. Like Robertson doesn't. He rests for Scotland, but somehow Tierney plays 180 minutes. And yeah, buy better backup. You know, that's a recruitment issue as far as I'm concerned. So I don't think it's his last season. I think we need to relax on that. Do I believe that Arteta gets found out with more games and more comps? We'll see. Like, you know, we'll see what happens with that. I think it depends on recruitment again. And the idea that we're going to have the exact same squad and, you know, he's going to really struggle and all this kind of stuff. We have to see. We really do have to see. But that's just my take on it.
Look, on the Tierney thing, availability is one of the best abilities, if not the best. You know, big up Daniel says that a lot. I'm not going to plagiarize. On Arteta, look, next season, I'm not even overplaying this. Next season, he's the most under pressure manager in the league. Is it out of the top six? Top six, he's the most under pressure. He's got the most pressure on him. More pressure than Tuchel. More pressure than
Ten Hag has the most.
He does not. Nowhere near as much as Arteta. Were you on Dreamland? What are you talking about? Go on. Explain your crimes, please. How is he? Go on. Away you go.
You don't think Ten Hag has more pressure than Mikel Arteta?
No.
Why not? I want to know why you think that, because Ten Hag, there's pressure out of the gate to make sure that you guys make it into the top four.
There is pressure.
And you have a lot of surgery to do, and the style of play has to be a certain way.
Okay, stop, and I'll speak. There's a lot of surgery to do. We are at rock bottom. Nobody's expecting. You won't let me finish.
There are expectations. So now you're going to try to act like there's no expectations.
Hang on, but you don't let me finish my
sentence. Ten Hag is
people. She won't let me finish my sentence because she knows. You won't let me finish?
No, I don't. I won't change my stance on this. I'm not saying that Arteta's under no pressure, but I think Ten Hag is under more pressure.
Not answering now.
Okay.
Okay, let me ask. You asked the question. Why is there less pressure? Because your manager is about to go. He's already had $250,000 spent. You're going to spend another 150 million, which is going to put his spend to 400 million. He's closing in on half a bill. He's been backed by a large percentage of your fan base as being good enough to get you back to the peak. You're excited about the project. You're being run better. There's this great young squad that's going to go to that next level. Disappointment, but a lot of you still believe in Arteta. He's the guy. The new 3-year deal means the board are backing him. He just missed out on top 4. If he doesn't make it next year, there's nowhere else for him to go. He has to deliver that next step, which is Champions League and a trophy. He's been there going into his 3rd to 4th year, or 3 and a bit years at that point by the end of the season. Ten Hag has got pressure. There are expectations. No one's saying there's none, but there's more on Arteta, in my opinion, because of how long he's been there. Even when you look at Thomas Tuchel, he's got new owners. That will relieve the pressure slightly. Equally, he's not even been given any of his own players yet, really, in reality. This is his first time. Antonio Conte, Conte will probably put more pressure on himself than anybody else, but he's going to get a really good squad. He's made it into the Champions League. And Spurs, unless he's 10th and they go out the Champions League in the group stages, and he falls out of all these players, Spurs ain't sacking a manager like him because they can never get anyone better. There's less pressure on Pep. And I'm talking pressure on your job here. Like, Arteta is the one who's staring down the barrel more than any other one of these managers. Now, if Ten Hag doesn't make the top 4 and we're playing awfully and nothing works, of course he could lose his job. But there's no doubt about that. That could potentially happen. But I think there's less pressure because of how bad we have been. we are, in my opinion, we only get better from this point, and therefore there'll be more positivity towards it. But yeah, for me, Arteta is under more pressure for his job than anyone else in the top 6 next year. No doubt. No doubt.
I think you're wrong, to be honest. Because a lot of people don't even rate Arteta, so why do they have high expectations for him?
I'm not talking. It doesn't matter about them. I'm talking about him himself. Like, he has to deliver, doesn't he? Fifth.
No, you talked about other people. So where are these expectations coming from? The fans, himself, who?
Your club.
The club.
The collective. The collective I'm talking about. Yeah.
Well, Mikel Arteta, like, from the club, he's not staring down a barrel. He's not staring down a barrel.
He's staring down a barrel if he doesn't achieve. If he finishes 6th next year, doesn't win a cup.
So you don't think if Ten Hag finishes 6th that the fan base won't turn on him, that your fan base won't turn on him?
I think that
because you guys are talking about patience, but you won't be talking about it.
Let me answer the questions.
Okay, go ahead. Because you guys have one of the most entitled fan bases out there. You guys are not going to take 6th and a deep run in the Europa League.
But I just said that we could sack him if that happens. You're not listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth. You're doing a bit of a Liverpool fan thing here. You're not hearing it. There's pressure on all of them. Of course there is.
Yeah.
There's expectations on all of them. But Mikel Arteta's been here longer, built his squad, has his team, is about to add to it. There'll be more patience, in my opinion, with Erik ten Hag, as long as there are improvements, as long as we are moving forward. If he flops, of course he could be out of a job. But there is not as many expectations this year on Erik ten Hag and Manchester United than there should rightfully be on Arsenal, especially when it comes from the Arsenal fans who have spoke about how you've already got a better squad, a more balanced squad than us, how good your manager is going to be, the project being amazing. For Arsenal fans to suddenly start talking like, actually, there's not as much expectation on us as there is Man United and as there is on Tottenham.
Because also, again, here we go with every single Arsenal fan feels exactly the same, and they represent the fan base at large. I get what you're trying to say. We'll see how everything pans out. I think Ten Hag has a lot of pressure on him as well.
You're not listening to me. He has pressure.
Okay.
I'll agree with you on that.
And so does Arteta. But I feel like you're also acting like I'm saying that there's no pressure whatsoever.
No, but I think, we're not, and we're getting cross paths here. There's pressure.
I think we're both saying the same things, but we have a different opinion, which is fine. Yeah.
And that's cool.
We're saying the same things, but we have a different opinion.
But I'm literally coming out and saying this to you. I believe that there should be more on Arteta from you. And I'm talking from you and your fan base. Someone says here, Terry, you're so desperate for Arteta to get sacked. Why? I'm not desperate for Arteta.
But again, didn't I say, if he doesn't get top 4, you've spoken to me about this. If he doesn't get top 4, I want him out. So there is pressure from the Arsenal fan base. I'm telling you right now, there is.
I know there is. And like I just said.
So then what are you saying?
I think that, but I'm saying what I said at the beginning. Let's go right back to the beginning. I think there's more pressure on Arteta than Erik ten Hag.
Okay.
That's all I said.
I said the opposite, but then because I said the opposite, it was, but there should be more pressure. There is pressure. I just think there's more on Ten Hag, and people are playing it down.
That's all. And my question to you is on that, which you didn't really answer, is why after all the things that Arteta has been praised for building, being here longer, spending money, why wouldn't there be more pressure on him from your club, from your fans, from your media, than on a brand new manager that hasn't even had one season at the club yet? Why would there not be when you're a big Arsenal football club?
Because first of all, Manchester United is huge, and you guys take every single opportunity to say how much bigger you are than Arsenal, right? Because of all the trophies, all the accolades, the history, all of that. So let's not ignore it now that we're having a conversation comparing the two. The way that your club, the media, and the players capitulated around Ralf Rangnick, I think speaks to the pressure that Manchester United is under. You guys are under just as much pressure as Arsenal, because you guys also had a team that was capable of getting top 4, and you just kind of shat the bed. So you're not as far away from it as if you guys get a couple of players, the expectation is top 4. If he doesn't get it, it's not, I don't think it's just going to be, well, we played better football and all this kind of stuff. Like, I do think especially with your rivals, just lapping you guys, Liverpool and Man City. That pressure is up there. That's all I'm saying.
Definitely is
I
pressure,
stick with it.
but you didn't address
I
the
did
Arsenal.
answer the.
You didn't
I did.
address. Let me finish speaking. You didn't address for me the Arsenal element of why is there not this? How is someone that's been there as long as Arteta been given the resources and everything that he wants and needs? You know, why would there not be more pressure on him? Like that's what I get. Why there's pressure on Ten Hag. I've listened to that, but that doesn't answer the question for me as to why there would be more pressure on him than Arteta, who is going into his third year. Like, this was the year that Arteta promised you all the Champions League. So why would there not be more pressure on him than a manager that's coming in to fix I agree with you. Everything you said about a shit in the bed.
It's because you guys. Okay, I will answer it, even though the answer is just. I feel like it's just so obvious. Arteta's been here for 2.5 seasons, but they definitely started the project over after the first one failed. So he has a longer runway. And that's why they said that they felt like they were ahead of schedule. They have a bunch of young players. You know, I really do think they're taking that into account. So I think from the club standpoint, I don't think, you know, unless he's really, really off the pace, I don't think that he's under like as much pressure as maybe you guys feel like he should be. But a lot of people don't want to hear it. You know, when he finished 8th, his first full season, they started over after that. Got rid of all the old players and went young.
Oh, so like he's first. So what you're essentially saying is that he's only really been here 1.5 years.
No, I'm not saying he's only been here 1.5 years. I'm saying that we know that within a manager being there, a project can fail. He wanted to go with older players. It didn't work. He had to start over. We completely started from scratch this season with the young team, and they wanted a longer runway. That's pretty much what happened, especially because we're outside of Europe. I know people don't want to hear it because all they want to do is lump those 3 years in together. And I'm not saying that that means that Arsenal fans should change their expectations. I'm saying the club changed their expectations based on that. It's very clear, like it's very obvious.
And look, I think the window is going to play a massive part in this, because if you do bring in the Jesus, you bring in Osimhen, you bring in Tielemans, and you bring in one other very good player, then again, the pressure ranks up even further. The quality of the window is really going to matter for people, the style of the football. I can't see more than 20% of the fan base remaining behind Mikel Arteta if he doesn't make the Champions League next year or doesn't win a trophy. I just can't personally see it. With Erik Ten Hag, if the football is a lot better and there is progression in the way we play and there is a good feeling, year one, you'll still have, in my opinion, the majority of people behind you. You definitely, of course, you're going to have the people. Listen, there are already people like Mike, Love United, Hate Glazers, already says, I'm turning on him already. You've already got that percentage. And I think every fan base, you know, you guys had people that were against Arteta from the day that he was announced. So we all know that they exist. But yeah, you know, in terms of pressure on your job, as opposed to the pressure from your the pressure to deliver, like Pep and Klopp are under the most pressure because they're expected to win. In terms of your job, for me, I kind of would go in the order of sort of Arteta, Tuchel, Ten Hag, Conte, Pep, Klopp, like in that order. I just don't see Spurs sacking Conte. I just can't. The only way that happens if he falls out. But we'll see. We have some super chats here that I want to go to that says, have you talked Villa? Just joined. Kamara in. Basuma wanted. Tarkovsky looking at Carlos from Sevilla and linked with Suarez. Listen, Mark, we did speak briefly. Like Villa are looking to do some serious business this year, and with the way that Steven Gerrard plays football as well, it could be a very dangerous outfit yet next year, no doubt. PSG with losses of 700 million euros in the past season, and they signed Mbappe. I haven't read that. That's a madness if they have, but wow. The real question is, should I buy my Premier League subscription to watch Man United games? Players are actually responsible as the Glazers. I simply hate them. That's up to you, my friend. That is up to you, my friend, whether you want to do that. The comment here that says, I was definitely starting to turn Arteta in, yes, is what Brandon says. Lots of people do. But that's also why I think that if it goes wrong, there'll be a quick turn the other way as well, especially with the way a lot of the big Arteta winners felt at the end of the season. Their disappointment was mad.
Also, like, I think people don't really realize that there's a difference between the fans online and the fans in the stadium. They've spoken about that a lot. Like different Arsenal accounts have talked about it, different Arsenal podcasts. The people that actually go to the games are nowhere near as hyperbolic and full of vitriol like the fans online. So there's so we talk about it from what we see online, but I think it'll take a little bit longer for that part of the fan base, which is an important one. You have to feel it in the stadium for the club to really act the way that they did with Emery and Wenger. So
I agree, but you typically get that. You know, I was an online fan and a match going fan for many years, but when I before I decided to pull my money away from the club, when I went in and essentially the players crossed the white line, I'd get behind them even if I was frustrated because you're there. Why would you not support them? And Saeed at Man United has spoken about that. Like when he's there, he'll cheer everybody on. And in fairness, even when I watch on television, like I don't want us. I can't. I understand people's logic, but my brain doesn't compute with wanting my team to not do well just because I'm not happy. Does that make sense? So you get behind and support. So that is very true. Brandon says there's no pressure on Arteta, only excuses. Do you really think Arsenal will have the fourth best squad? Is what Aiden has said here.
You don't need to have the fourth best squad to get into the top four. We've seen that this season, but probably not. I think we had probably about the sixth best squad this season, and we finished fifth. So
yeah, there we go. It's coming home. Football's coming home. That's a weird one. That's a very strange one to put in there, but I thought I'd put it up. Anyway, Mo Salah, just one of the final points. Mo Salah staying at Liverpool. What's your thoughts? This season,
was it ever really like in doubt? I didn't really think he was going anywhere. They just have to pay him the money. So,
but he hasn't signed a new deal. This is the point. It's he's basically said that even without a new deal, he will definitely stay for next season. So still no deal at the moment. Like, do you see that the point is more? Do you see a deal coming off the back of this?
Yeah, probably. I mean, where else is he going to go and be able to, compete at this level? Like, I know that PSG or somebody might have been interested, but like, are you playing higher quality games and at the top level of the game with PSG? Not all the time, especially in that league. Real Madrid might be interested in him because they weren't able to get Mbappe, but like, I don't know. I feel like he's destined to stay. They just have to come up off the money. Maybe they need to maneuver some players around. Maybe they need to figure out who they're maybe could get rid of in order to give them the wages. But I feel like, everybody probably wants to get it done. Maybe it just needs more time. Liverpool are getting to a point now where they're going to have to pay those players world-class wages, before they didn't have to. So it's difficult for them. They have to make the right decision for them. Like, I can understand them being maybe a little bit reluctant to just blow up their whole wage structure and give him, because once he asked for high wages, everybody's asking for it, so I get that, but I feel like it'll get done. Maybe it's not right during the summer, maybe it's mid-season next season or something like that, but I think it gets done. Mo Salah, I think, wants to stay there. It's just a matter of Liverpool finding the money.
Yeah,
they got it somewhere.
This is the thing that Liverpool went through this already, where their wage bill hiked up massively, and a lot of that was they did a lot of bonus deals. If they continue to be successful, the commerciality continues to grow. Players are going to earn more money. It's just a prerequisite of success. And if you want to maintain and keep the best players, you have to pay the going rates. This is why when I see fans celebrating low wage bills, oh my God, it's less. So, brother, it's less if you're a smaller club, bruv. It's less if you're not as successful over a prolonged period of time. When Man United is still feeling Man United have this problem of like the club is so commercially successful still. So therefore, the players that help drive that commercial success, even in barren times trophy-wise, they get paid huge amounts of money. Often wages in the media get conflated between their base salary, image rights, and all sorts of other things. But the more your club grows, the bigger the sponsorship deals, the more money the players want. The players sit there and see Liverpool getting these deals that no one else has got. The stadium being expanded, big investments from abroad. They're like, well, I want my cut because without us, this falls apart a little bit. And they've got to give it to Salah, in my opinion. Where else could he go? Listen, I think it's great news for Liverpool fans to see him say this now. I think with Mbappe not going to Real Madrid, there is this kind of there is this element of what could come next. There is some talk though that Mane has said that he's going to. I've only seen this in some tweets. I haven't researched it, but I've read that on Twitter that Mane is going to speak of his future after the Champions League final. So it's going to be intriguing to see what he does. I've long since believed that if Liverpool are going to sign a big player in their attack, which they could still do this year, that one of the traditional big three of their attackers has got to leave. Maybe it's going to be Mane. You know, time waits for them, but we will see. Red Wolf here says, Arteta simps always make excuses. Martin here agrees and says, Ten Hag most pressure with the best squad in the league is what Martin's got to say there. Actually, maybe that's a bit of a joke, really. But maybe he agrees. I don't know. A comment here from Terry's Transplant that says, Terry, can we speak about your scuffle with Mike Luhg? There was no scuffle. I spoke about this yesterday on a stream, and I just said that I stand by. I don't believe he's a real Man United fan. I believe that he is. By the way, I said it was funny what he does. I'm not angry with him. I said it was funny. I believe he everything. I did a bit more research into him because he said that I mentioned Jose. Now, I don't know specifically if he ever said negative things about Jose. People like him. There's lots of Love United, Hate Glazer accounts. Lots of people that only tweet negative things about Man United. I saw some of them during the Jose era doing it, who then changed their tune and now praise Jose. Maybe he's always been positive of Jose. I don't personally care. I'm talking more about nearly everything I see him tweet about the club is negative. I would love to get his take ahead of time. That's all I'm saying. I would love him to come on the terrace. He's offered to. I don't want, he said, I'm not coming on to apologize. I don't want you to apologize. I'm not here to berate. I'm not here to drag up hundreds of tweets. I just want to talk. I want to know what your standards are and what you expect from the manager now. Just so I can see what you tweet about in the future if he ever does those things. That would prove to me that you aren't a troll. That would prove to me you've got a standpoint, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's all it was down to. There was no, I've got no animosity. Like I laugh at what he tweets. I don't get angry. A few people say, why'd you block him? Just because if I see lots of things on my timeline that I don't necessarily like, okay, I'm bored of that now, I just block or I mute. That's just what I do to people. But someone sent me screenshots of what he put out, and I just laughed my head off because I don't really understand what he expects just through reading his tweets. I want to know why he believes that. So if he wants to come on, and I'm sure he's going to see this, someone will send it to him. Come on, like it'll be amicable. Like, you know, I'm not going to start screaming and shouting at him. But there we go. That's what's going on with that one there. For everybody that did want to know, they all live off being negative. I feel the same way about all of them. They're like a cult. Love United, Hate Glazers, all brainwashed people following and taking on the main guy's opinion. Yeah, I just don't know what people like that expect. I don't know what they expected Ten Hag to do in his first press conference. Yeah, Maguire's crap. The Glazers have run this club like shit for 9 years. I'm here to try and make them fix it, but they might not, and I might fail just like everybody else. I don't know if that's what people expect the man to come out and say. I don't know what people expect, and that's what I want. I want people to come and say what they expect ahead of time. That's all. For me, that's a braver way of doing it, as opposed to waiting for things to happen and then reacting to it. It's very easy to react without ever having an opinion beforehand. You always see this in politics. You always get these, the politicians that their parties of in England, we get like the Lib Dems who've very rarely been in power. You get all the UKIPs and whoever else. That may not mean anything to our international viewers, but you get all these fringe parties arrive and they sit there criticizing how the country's been run terribly all these years. And it has been for times, but it's like, it's very easy when you and your party have never been in power to throw stones, because there's no history of you making them mistakes as well for it to be countered, if that makes sense. And I feel like that with some football fans. They say nothing ahead of time and moan afterwards. And then, I told you. Where did you tell me? I need to see this. That's all it really was. But there we go. Thank you. Afternoon, Terry. Liverpool Standard Chartered ends at the end of 2022-23. Liverpool will be looking for a new deal, so there will be more money. And Dinesh is a great point. And if Liverpool make more money, the players will want more money. Because why are people offering more? Because the fan base is growing. Why is the fan base growing? Because the team on the pitch are being successful. It will always come back to that, and the agents will push for this money. Listen, Remy, who's the agent of Salah, is a seriously talented, very intelligent man, and he will, even if Salah ends up with less than he's asked for, they'll still end up with more than they really want. Art and negotiation. Ask for more than you really want. And sometimes you negotiate down, but still end up in a good space. Anyway, Jess, pleasure to talk as always. Thank you very, very much indeed. To all the viewers, super chatters, brand new subscribers, thank you. Make sure you hit that like button before you leave today. It means a great deal to us. But until next time, take care. Good.